What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we're back with an in-depth breakdown of the new Flame Charm mantra, Searing Snare, and how this new ability can be one of the strongest in the right hands. Also, apologies if I sound weird, I'm a bit sick this week, but of course I gotta provide for the people. Anyway, recently released in the latest Deepwoken update was the new Flame Charm mantra and one of my favorites, Searing Snare. At first glance, I've heard people say how terrible this is, it's broken, it requires zero skill, and it's really hard to use, and honestly, you know, they're kind of arguing here, but everyone is right. There's so much involved in this mantra that's unavailable to others, so it can be good and bad in a lot of different situations based on how it's used. On activation of Searing Snare, we generate an aimable zone which can target an area and explode after a small delay. Objectively, with its damage, this explosion can deal upwards of 40 plus damage at level 5 and hits block with a substantial amount of posture, around 20 on hit. This is a powerful payoff for landing a blast, but you gotta aim. So, it's possible to move the reticle freely with your mouse or your camera, and each of these options serve a very specific playstyle. For starters, sniping from range is extremely easy to do with Searing Snare, pointing at distant players that are distracted and hitting them with some damage. When people talk about this being brain dead, this is pretty much all they mean because yeah, it's a zoning tool with low risk unless you're actually involved in the fight. Switching between mouse aim and camera aim is pretty jarring, and in most situations, your radius is going to be closer to your character. In 1v1 duels, sniping players with a searing explosion becomes near impossible since it's reactable with essentially the same windup and delay as the flare blood comma critical. Now, let's talk about what you can do with this mantra that is honestly quite amazing. This is where things elevate, and you gotta lock in to use this mantra effectively because I believe Searing Snare is one of the strongest mantras available right now if you know what you're doing. For starters, whenever you activate your snare initially, your reticle shows up and doesn't do anything unless you press the snare again. This allows the player to use other mantras, attacks, or criticals and hit their snare once again when the time is right to actually explode it. Throwing this out to pressure players isn't always gonna work since the windup and range are pretty limited with the camera aim, but this is where game knowledge gets involved. In many situations, you can precisely time your snare directly after dealing damage to confirm a hit. Based on my own experience, whenever you hit an enemy and instantly explode your trap, you can force them to either take the damage or eat 20 posture, and that's pretty crazy. The window for a reaction is so small out of hit stun that they're forced to block that damage and accept it. Additionally, you can stack this attack after landing other mantras that stun targets, slam them into walls, or obscure vision, and this is essentially free to use. Knockdowns and confirmed hits are unavoidable with this mantra, and that's pretty solid for damage setup. Seriously, timing is the name of the game when it comes to this mantra, and if you're locked in and ready to react with a great knowledge and experience of your own build, you're going to be confirming damage and applying pressure consistently with Searing Snare. This mantra is absolutely great to use and effective in combat, but you really have to practice a lot to master its potential. Also, I almost forgot to mention, the Spring Spark lets you rocket jump, which is fun to say the least. Check it out and tell me your own thoughts down below. This isn't just the most ridiculous mantra added, it's one of the most complex and rewarding options that Deepwoken has to offer. Thank you so much to all my loyal fans and members who support my channel directly, and if you like what I do, join up as a member. Also, if you want to join my Discord for updates, you can do that, and my guild is going to be linked. Finally, I'm starting a UGC group on Roblox, which will be linked down below if you do want to buy some accessories on Roblox. As always, thanks again, and make sure to like and subscribe. I'm shooting for 110k subs, and let's hit that goal. Have a good one. It's punched in time.